Hey guys, Brad Pryor here with Grip Branded, hanging out with Chance Lewis.
That's correct.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Tell me some exciting stuff that you've done that are cool jobs, since you have a whole list here.
I mean, if glorified ditch digging doesn't do it for you, I don't know what will. No, I mean, we built a couple of, what I think is cool, I'll touch on the pool thing for like Kurt Thomas. We built him a pool. He was a All-American at TCU, then played for the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs, maybe a few other teams, but heck of a player. He lived down the street, another neighborhood, let me clarify, from my parents in Colleyville, and randomly called. And my dad answered the phone. He's like, yeah, we need to get a pool bed. And my dad was like, oh, okay, what's your name? He said, Kurt Thomas. He's like, oh, yeah, you know what? One of my favorite players from TCU is named Kurt Thomas. He said, you probably heard of him. He goes, that is me. But that's like, how can we help? So, but yeah, so, doing pools for like, some other people I can't mention, but like, that's pretty cool doing stuff and seeing like how they live, like normal people. Like
They are normal people, and that's what a lot of people. We work for a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
And I don't even pay attention to half the names, especially when it comes to sports stars. I don't watch sports very much. So when something, yeah.
Do you trust them? I'm just kidding.
But and these people come through and like, hey, you're going out there, and this is such and such. So he plays for the Dodgers. I'm like, who's that? Like, and my GM he went to Austin College on a baseball ride, so he's all about baseball and everything. So it's his hero.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't know who that is? It's like, nope, I don't have a clue, and it just blows his mind. And funny story, one time, actually, Ashley that runs our Decatur office sent me out to out by Wichita Falls, a little town called Electra.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Well, it's out of nowhere. So I'm going out here, and the name on this job is Justin something. It was like code word or what he goes by when he's in the public trying to do business. So I go out there.
Timberlake.
Yeah. So I go out there, and there's two black Suburbans sitting there at the front entrance, and I can't even. This a little entrance, and it's got a gate, and it's got a telecom and all that stuff. Well, I'll roll up in there, and they're like, hey, do you have any guns? That kind of stuff. You need to check them here and here. And I'm like, okay, yeah, here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the crap is going on? When you see your ID, I'm like, I'm thinking I'm getting pranked. I really do. I'm thinking, because she jacks with me all the time about stuff. Well, so we drive, I get in the Suburban, and we go up here, and there's this older gentleman, and a couple other guys with him, the ranch manager and stuff, and we're on top of this hill. We're going to put this ranch manager's house and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't have a clue what exactly is going on. I just figured it had security because, whatever. Sure. Like, I'm still kind of figuring this out. Well, his handler, more or less, that does all the operation stuff, spends money and all that, he comes up to me, and they're talking, and one of my foremans was talking to them about laying it out and all this stuff. Well, his handler comes over, and the wind is blowing, and it's 101 degrees in West Texas. So
a nice warm breeze.
Yes. Thank God we're on top of a hill. But anyways, and he leaned, and I can't hear hardly at all, especially with the wind blowing, and he soft-spoken Hispanic guy. He leaned over to me and he said, you know who he is? I was like, please tell me, because I'm bubbling over with what's going on right now. And he said, it's Rex Tillerson. I said, who? It's Rex Tillerson. I was like, okay. Who's Rex Tillerson?
You have a bio on that guy?
Yeah. I'm like, why are you? I'm like, I'm really just trying to figure out who this is,
Does he have a playing card?
Yeah. I'm fixing to die. This is where I'll go, huh? Anyways, but so I still, he didn't explain really who he was. So I'm leaving, get back in my truck, and I call. Actually, I'm like, okay, what the crap is going on right now? Because I'm missing something.
Yeah.
And ends up being, he worked for Trump. He got let go. He was the U.S. District attorney or whatever. That's how good I was at that. But he ran Exxon ConocoPhillips he was their CEO.
Yeah. Very controversial guy.
Yeah, a great controversial guy, yeah. And I had no clue. And I'm like, y'all got to tell me. She knew.
Yeah.
She just set me up for it. It was a prank in a way, but it's also, I was just thrown off. Like, I've never been to that kind of security detail before, doing that. So it goes back to that. You never know what you're going to run into on a job site or who you're going to talk to or, whatever. Everything turned out fine. Great guy. But it was just, we ended up working for his son, building some stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. So running into famous people, I did it. So I had have you mentioned this yet? A snow cone shed.
A what?
You heard me. Snow cone shed.
You got tiger blood?
So we did. It was actually a snowball stand, and it was called, it was actually in Justin off of right behind Texas Motor Speedway, off 156. And it was called a Snowball's Chance, and our motto was best balls in town. Before we even opened,
oh my god,
we had people there taking selfies in front of this Harsh regular with our name on it and the motto.
Marketing working.
Oh, we had probably 1,000 followers on Instagram before we even opened the thing.
That's crazy.
And it was funny, but one of the famous guys, and I never can remember his name, pitched for the LA Dodgers. He went to Northwest High School. During COVID is when we opened it. And he came, and this is like the year right before he goes and pitches in the World Series. But he's already made a great name for me. Redheaded, curly hair. I can't remember. He's a pitcher. Great.
You're a sports guy. You both know this.
I am a sports guy. And baseball is what I love most. But no, speaking of, you need to go to spring training if you've never been.
Phenomenal.
But I will digress. Yeah, it's he came and like guy running the fireworks stand across from my snow cone stand. Come over, do you know who that is? I was like, no, who is he? Like he's like so and so. So I was like, that name sounds familiar. I go, wait, Dodgers? He goes, yeah. He went to school right there, the high school. I was like, cool. I was like, I didn't know how to react. But they came in several times a week because we had cornhole. We had live music there. Super famous now artist Shelby Stone. I don't know if you've heard of her or not. Amazing voice. Even better person.
Really?
Seriously. Yeah.
That's good. That's the part I love to hear when people do become famous or personalities are recognized in the public, is that they are a good person still.
Oh.
Nothing ever changes after that limelight.
So I had Caleb and them opened up the first night of our snow cone shed, and we were giving away free snow cones our first day and free concert and all that kind of thing. Well, a couple weeks later, called Heather. I was like, hey, Heather, do you know any local artists? And she's like, dude, I got you one. She has just started, hasn't even done her first show yet, but she's really good. And I was like, perfect, send her on. And so Shelby comes out, and sweetest thing ever. Her guitar string breaks, and it's already 180 million degrees outside in Texas, and there's no shade, like none. She comes out there and plays for 3 hours, and does an amazing job. I think Caleb at one point went up and grabbed her guitar, tuned it for her, because like she's like trying to just focus on playing and do, and it was such a learning experience for her. She even mentioned this, like, having, doing that first one is so nerve wracking. Mm-hmm. Came out, a few months later, did another one and was like night and day better. I mean, she was already great that first night. Like the voice, you'd be like, okay, this girl's going somewhere. Sure enough, she is. Doing great. And I think she's managed by, it was a company called Honcho. I think Dalton Domino is a guy that does her main work, and he's an artist as well. Really good artist.
He's good, yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen him.
So I've heard a lot of. I've never met him. We've communicated via email a few times, but again, glowing reviews about who he is. So
well, I put on a little fair in Hunt County, Texas, in Greenville. We had him, and for my sound guy and my lighting guy to actually like
that's how you know.
Because most of them artists, like you're like, oh, like I can tell as soon as they open that bus door and you're talking to their travel manager or whatever, how this is going to go.
Yeah.
And my setup team, they're not bullies, but we're here to help you. Yeah. And we're here to get this as perfect as you need it. Because we want a good show. We want you to have a good show.
Open communication everywhere. Let's get it done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't don't straw boss me, and don't. And the good thing is that the leader is about 6'8" of this pack of my
Problem
guys.
solved. Yep.
So yeah, he can just. But but they had nothing but good things to say about. I never got to meet him. I saw it, but for them to brag on an artist, is awesome.
It is unheard of. I preached to Caleb and the boys, and they're really good about it. The guys that are there, especially if you go to like when Hanks before it closed, we loved playing there. It's such a bummer they closed in McKinney. But I say, guys, when you go there, sound check. Do not play an instrument unless that sound tech asks for it. Hey, respect their time because they're trying to help you get it where you need it, so then you can practice your full song together. And they're like, "Bet that's good. Like we're good, Chance. What the heck are you yelling at us for?"
Yeah.
But I mean, they did a great job, and that's one thing I always remind them. I know I don't need to remind you guys, but please shake their hand, thank them for being there. They're there making sure you shine. They get zero credit.
Mm-hmm.
So please be nice to those guys. And I'll be damned. I don't even have to say it anymore. Caleb is over there hanging out with those guys more than he is his own band because he's so thankful to have those guys do what they do. Mm-hmm. He does realize, and it's not just because of they can make you sound good or bad. It's legit because he cares about the people. He really does. And
those guys are living the same life the artist is too.
Yeah, with
their
no
own
recognition.
Right, and they're just nobody knows who they are. Yeah. They're over doing a couple things on the board and all this kind of stuff. But
this is my shining. I mean, this is where I get highlighted. So follow me.
Well, and I've in opening up and a lot of these this is outside venue. I was talking about they'll run. You're at multiple bands are stacked on top of each other. So that's typically trying to get people to share their space or set up so there's not a lot of breakdown in between shows.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of that logistical nightmare going on, especially when you get
5-15 minute overlaps. Yep.
Yeah, you get three bands that are like, nope, you're not touching my drums. Nope, you're not touching. I'm like, okay, guys, we can't put 3 drum sets up here. You know what I mean? It just ain't gonna work.
And the opener act probably didn't have a good enough drum set for everybody because he didn't care. He's like, use them. He's like, we're good.
But you see a lot of personalities, not good and bad. But everybody just has to get along. In the end, that's just what we're after. Put on a show and let's go. Yeah. What about you did stuff with the Alliance Air Show?
Yes.
Is that that's not the Blue, what's the one that they have out here at, the Blue Angels?
So it would be alternating years. So
is it Blue Angels though?
Yeah, Blue Angels came out there
a
lot. So it was actually the girl that I was dating runs that air show.
Okay.
Or used to. They don't have it anymore. But so the Fourth Alliance air show, and I think the airfield is now called Perot Field. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so when we'd run it, so ever since 2000, I guess I started helping in 2016. The first year, all I did was help build signs. And all I did was weld up signs and paint them and get is basically the "Where are you here? Where are you now?" signs, and then kind of a map of everything. And then the following year, with about a month to go to air show, she's like, "Hey, I need 15 benches. Can you make me 15 benches?" I was like, "Sure." And she goes, "And can you stain them or something?" I said, "Better than that." I said, "Let me go ahead and if they're going to be outside, let me just burn them. Mm-hmm. And then we'll sand them after that and they'll be sealed off." And she's like, "I don't care, just make them look good." Did it, fine. Well, I did that in about a week. And of course, working for myself and my dad was still had a large part to do with the pool business. I kind of basically just took off a month and just helped. And I got the nickname, I don't want to cuss on your program, but Christina's bitch is what I was known as.
There ain't nothing you're going to do with this program to hurt it, so you can talk.
I did get, I'm going to brag about this. It's forever in my mind. Her, one of the girls that she works with up there at the air show, at the airport office, Carrie, she goes, "Well, you're just the air show savior." And I was like, I made sure Christina heard that. You heard that, right? But no, it got to the point where her and I, we made such a great team. Even after we broke up, Christina and I, we still work really well together. And I'm also one of those people, like, I like to live above reproach. I don't want to, like, she's, since Christina's now married to just a spectacular dude, Trent, great guy. But like, you know, since she was dating somebody else and now she's married, like, we'll never be alone together.
Sure.
Which I don't want to do that anyway. But we still work so well together. Like, she does that. Occasionally she might need help at a rodeo she helps with like that Charlie Crawford fella. And then, but air show wise, we did that a long time, which led into some more great relationships, which led to more work and more opportunities. So one of the relationships I made after doing that for 6-7 years was a guy named Jeffrey Shapiro, out of New York. And he owns a company called Solutions Event Services, I believe. They handle all the parking at Texas Motor Speedway, the Poconos, like almost a lot of different NASCAR events, and almost every single air show you can think of. And you think, this parking thing is so easy. Anybody could do it. Maybe. But before Jeff, we had a very experienced guy who still, I think still does Billy Bob's, and I think he helps at the Fort Worth Stock Show Rodeo, which he's awful. Cut that out. He truly bad. But I did not say that. But he, before Jeff took it over, it was about at least an hour to an hour and a half inbound or outbound, either way. So it was bad. That was the biggest complaint that the air show got was traffic in or out. We get this guy in there, and he transformed it. Like, he is the biggest traffic nerd and parking nerd you would ever meet in your entire life. But who do you want running your traffic?
Yeah, 100%.
That guy. He made relationships with the Fort Worth PD, with even the fire department, which didn't even handle traffic. But they're there for emergency service. He needed to know where they wanted to be and how they wanted to get there, to make sure that if something did happen, they had complete access without worrying about driving over pedestrians walking to the event, or like, he has everything down to a science. And this guy, for some stupid reason, he asked me, he's like, "Hey, you look like a good worker. Why don't you come work with me?" And I was like, "You're an idiot, but yeah, I'm in." And so I joined up with him, and now I help him handle all these events over here at Texas Motor Speedway. And now next weekend I'm going down to Dakota in Austin. We're doing that one. This is our first year to do that one. Same company owns that Texas Motor Speedway in Dakota, or runs them. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's super fun. I mean, like, I'm in and out of my truck, get to cut through traffic, which is really fun. And I get run over a couple times, which is not fun, but yeah, it's a really cool, like, something I'd never say, yeah, I want to grow up and do parking. Mm-hmm. It's fun, man. It's fun, and I make great money doing it, and it's a thing that, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's very rewarding. Like, and again, a lot of that has to do with who I'm working with.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
That dude, anything for you. I mean, he'll make you feel like a rock star, and
it's easier to do that though than making somebody's life harder, especially when you're in logistics and you're putting on. And a lot of people don't understand this, when you're putting on a production or you're putting on a venue. Every dynamics, you have ticket people, you have parking lot people, you have people backstage, you have green room, like carnival, like all these things. Like, that's not an easy thing to manage. But if you just want to make everybody better and help them, it goes a lot farther than saying, nope, you can't park there. Just figure it out. So, but that's from learning stuff the hard way too.
one of the last things I'm going to be working on, hopefully for a while, is that. So I did a run through already, but I'm starting a podcast based off of. It's going to be more music industry, but a lot of kind of stuff we talked about today, even like history of what I've done in life. But like, it's going to be more about the music industry and like the stuff I've learned and the stuff that I can bring in, like people like Kelby Drew down in Austin, another connection from our favorite person, Heather Anderson. But Kelby taught me so much, but like I told her, I was like I really, all this information you share with me and the stuff that I've learned and then I've kind of shared with you, like, we need to make this easier for people to have access to. Mm-hmm. And like the podcasts that are out there now aren't doing that. I said, I don't want to be center of attention. That's not what I do. I love being in the back. Mm-hmm. I'll be the funny guy behind the scenes.
Right.
But in front of people, you put a camera on me, I'll start picking my nose. But and she was like, Chance, without putting words in her mouth, Chance, you're a god. You're amazing. No, okay, she didn't say that, but she did say it was a pretty good idea. She loved it. And I think she kind of wants to be part of that. But like, we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna try to steal your producer on occasion to help with that if she'll come. No, I'm just kidding. But I'd really love to do something like that, kind of help the industry not be so guarded with their secrets. Like, man, it's a family, and once you're in the family, I feel like it's more easy. Like once you've kind of gotten into the kind of the festival scene or something like that, information is a little bit easier to come by because people are like, we should do a show together. Like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Well, at level we're at, we're kind of right before that level, and getting into festivals is incredibly hard, especially if you don't know the route. Mm-hmm. And learning that route, along with the route of getting into places we're in now. And if I had some of this information before I took on this thing, first off, I probably would have taken it. But it's hard work. But at the same time, if you know what you're doing, or at least have a resource to kind of go check it against, it's like that's super helpful, And if I can just help, one artist or one manager or one, agent kind of, help the people they're supposed to be helping, I think it's gonna be worth it. Like I would have killed for some of this information I know now,
mm-hmm.
So
I feel the same way when we book Becca, my assistant. She's been booking music for the fair for 12 years, and we have to. It's a 10-day event, but we have music for 8 of those days. And
to answer your question, we would love to be a part of that. Yeah, no,
I knew it. I think you're gonna get it on camera, or we're gonna afterwards. Yeah. But we used to be able to book music, 3 or 4 months before the event.
Yeah.
Now, as soon as the fair is over or before the fair starts, we're having to find people because
it's a thing.
And and we've learned, waiting a little later, we can find better deals for routing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Even though it's at Larry Joe Taylor, because we're at the end of April, so we share that space and we fall in Billy Bob's radius, even though we're in Greenville. So on all these bars, they make deals with these artists, which as they should,
sure.
for multiple shows. So we're nobody when it comes to our little event.
Yeah.
But we've learned that a hard way too. There's different ways. If we had known different things, but the only way we learned was doing them.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to really tell you how to do it.
No. And it's almost like, well, they need to earn the right. They need to earn the stripes. I'm like, okay, they do need to know what they're doing a little bit, but giving some of them in this information, be like, okay, they'll respect these boundaries a little bit more without overstepping, and then somebody flexing because they know more than this guy. We get a lot of that. Like not a lot. Let me back up. We get some of that with other artists come up to me like, why are you helping Caleb so much? How come you won't help me? I'm like, brother, first off, I kind of just stumbled into this thing with Caleb. Secondly, I'm not going to invest my time into somebody who's not as invested as I am in it.
Sure.
Because what's the point?
Right.
And it's also a matter of like who like being willing to do the things that other people won't. Caleb's out at shows. If he's not playing, he's at somebody else's show supporting them. And I'm talking about guys who are just starting to you can catch us at almost every single Shane Smith and the Saints concert. But other than that, like, it's usually smaller guys we're at, and showing support has gotten us a reputation of they're doing good. They're helping the other, and that's good. I want that. Like, I want people to go out and support not just us but everybody. And these artists that are, a lot of the Denton crowd, we've been really blessed. Denton crowd is pretty great. You got Wade Bagley, who's great. Cameron Hobbs, who puts on a banger show. But a lot of the crowd, Tyler Bond, of course, as well. Spectacular voice. But a lot of the crowd, besides those guys, not including those guys, but outside of those guys, they're very, like, out for themselves. And I get it, because the industry almost kind of demands that of you if you don't know what you're doing.
Sure.
And so if you dive in and kill your ego, man, you will. It's amazing the information you'll get from people just by being transparent and be like, hey, man, I don't know jack. Can you help me out with that? Like, can you guide me in some direction? If not, no biggie. I understand, like, you got other things to do, but if you can't, like, in the amount of information you get from people that way is great. And that's not the only reason to do that, obviously. You need to go through life with that humble attitude, because
100%.
If you don't, then life
I'd rather somebody come to me and ask me how to do something than stumble around with because I know being in business for 23 years, when they're walking me around the long road to get what they need out of me, I'm like, just ask me. Because you're making yourself look bad.
You're taking up more of our time.
What do you want to know? So is this what you wanted to do for a living? Or would you?
So as a kid, I did a lot of singing in church and stuff. I always thought I'd be a country singer, to be honest with you. The problem with that is I'm not a stage guy. I can tell you what you should do on stage. And I'm probably wrong, but I can tell you, the things I would do if I was on stage. But as far as being in front of people, no. I have found a passion, though, in it. And it's something that I think most people who've known me throughout my life will tell you. They always envision me doing something in music. And had you put a gun to my head back in the day, there's no way I would have chosen artist management.
Yeah.
I do, events, artist management, and stuff like that. It's I've learned a passion for those things, and it's really the people, though. I don't care. I helped Bree Bagwell for a short 3-month span when she was in between. She helped me, really, is what it was, but because I learned a lot from her. She was in between tour managers, and that experience alone taught me so much. And having an artist of that caliber, I've met everybody from Bree Bagwell, Josh Abbott, Midland. We opened up for Zane, Wilder Blue, of course. But people that I always kind of looked to music like, oh, I would love to meet those guys. Like, they look like good people. Shane Smith and the Saints, those guys, I could actually go to tears about how sweet these guys are. Like, over and above. When we were starting out, I called Corey, their tour manager, who vomited more information on me than I could handle. But it's information I needed.
Right.
And it's so good. And, like, all of them are willing to help. And so, I don't know. It's an industry that if people would really just drop egos and share, the family would grow that much stronger. And it's just something that it's great. And I really have grown a huge passion for it. Am I making money at it? No. No. Right. If you're going this route to make money, there are ways to do that.
Right.
I'm not in those ways yet. I help people for free, and not because I'm rich, because I am not. But that's when I do a couple of swimming pools to help kind of cover my costs and stuff. But you truly have to have a passion for it. And Caleb's not taking a check. He doesn't take a check from the band shows. His acoustic shows he'll take happily. But the band shows where, we may get a check for $2,500. He'll pay the guys and then put the rest back into the band because he knows, like, the in-ear system we got, it's $8,000. Like, the speakers we have that we barely use but we have to have just in case we need them.
Right.
Is those are expensive. There's $5,000 of speakers. There's it's just no, it's not. Sorry, I did that math wrong. $4,500 worth of speakers. Still wrong. Oh my God. $2,000 worth of they're free. They're free. No, but they're like $2,000 or $3,000 worth of speakers, and there's always cords going out, and there's always microphones that are just, if you had this one, it'd probably be a little bit better because it's got such a booming voice, and like always something. But he just puts it right back.
He's reinvesting in himself.
He is, but he's broke. And we see these other artists who are, God bless them, they're able to live at home and build up a nest egg and like they don't have rent or they don't have things they have to pay for. They get things donated to them. That's great. We're all for it. It's just really hard when, it's not hard not to go, dang, I wish we could get that. Like, good for them though. Like, we always turn back to that, like, good for them.
Right.
But yeah, it's tough seeing all these people get the breaks that we wish we get. But man, I love the industry, and I would love to impact it in a way that would be something I could leave as a legacy of just in my little circle.
Sure.
Of like, hey, we made this part better, and that's what I want to do.
Right.
So, I love it.
Awesome. Well, what defines your grit?
My grit?
Your grit.
I don't know. Give me an example. Goodness.
What gives you that wake up in the morning ready to fight the world?
I wish your producer would have given me that question earlier on.
I'm just kidding. Give you all of them. I got 3 more on too.
That was my grit, man. I feel like just knowing that every day is a blessing, and to seize every moment you can for the passions that you're really passionate about. For me, I want to leave a legacy for my kids. I want to leave a legacy, to my extended family. Now it's just me and my middle sister that are in what I grew up with. It's just me and Ashley. She's been a rock through all these deaths we've had in the family over the last 6 years. But what gets me up in the morning is knowing my faith, number one. Knowing I'm doing something that I love, not getting paid for it, doesn't help the grit, but it also inspires me to say, okay, I really do love this. Why else would I be doing it? And seeing these guys truly transform their areas of what they're doing. These guys they bought into my crap, basically. They're eating the cookies. Some of them have weed in them, but they genuinely love what they're doing. All 4 of these guys in the band. And, my goals here from this point forward are to continue doing what I'm doing with Caleb. I'd love to pick up another artist or 2 to help. But again, the passion's got to be there. And then create a good festival. Actually, I'd love to have it at Alliance, to be honest with you. But
that'd be cool.
I think, from what I know, they'd be on board. But I know a few people there. Maybe we can convince them. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. What gets me up in the morning.
So if you had so let's say this: if there were one word to define your grit, what would it be? Getting better by the minute. You had a lot to say before the camera turned off.
On that edit, you can go 45 minutes later. The next day. One word. God, I don't know. What a horrible question. I'm just kidding.
The next 2 are not any easier. So.
Oh, well, son of a gun. I'm firing. I'm not gonna steal your producer then. I have no idea. Faith.
Faith? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Perseverance. There's a lot of perseverance. There's a lot of different words, but everybody has that word to define that they're grit. Yeah. So I always ask that question.
Yeah.
So.
Really, the only thing I feel like I live for is that's beyond my kids, obviously, but like faith. I love my salvation. I'm thankful for it. So faith would be it.
Faith it is. All right. Next question. 2-part question. No multiple choice. So if you had to tell yourself at 18 years old for advice, or you had to tell an 18-year-old advice today, what would it be?
To my 18-year-old self is don't let that girl go.
Oh.
Number 2.
That's a very interesting one.
Yeah, that's a great story with it, but I'll spare you. 2, if it was to another 18-year-old, is no matter how you feel in the moment, wait.
Yep.
Just wait. Because the decisions I make, spur of the moment, because I feel like there's not a tomorrow.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well, I think a lot of what we talked about earlier on kind of fits that too, because there's a lot of things I'd have done differently if I'd have just waited and not think. And that's a good way to say it, because that's how I feel when I've made those emotional decisions or a decision. And if I'd have gave it a little more time, the key thing now, telling myself these days, sleep on this for a night before you open your mouth.
Yeah,
you know
that's so hard.
That goes and even my GM, he's kind of my counselor most of the time, and I'm his counselor. But it's like he knows when I'm wound up. He said, "Man, go home, drink you a whiskey, take you a nap, wake up in the morning, let's talk about this before you, because I'm gonna make a bigger mess."
Oh yeah, same.
with my mouth and my actions than if I just gave it a minute and thought about it. Everybody'd been okay.
You could ask the same question to my 45-year-old self. It'd be the same thing.
Yeah. And I agree with that 1,000,000%. Well, Chance, we're going to wrap this up.
Yes, sir.
I think we could talk for 2 or 3 hours if we really wanted to. So, but good having you. Thank
7
you.
more jobs I could have told you about. That's cool. No, I'm kidding.
The Snowball Man. If you're out in the crowd and you hear Snowball Man, Brad.